Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and honorable members.
I think, Mr. Think Tokwe, you are free to come and sit in front. You, Mr. Chivayo, is too big for me to see you. Members, if there are any members leaving without seeking leave from the chairman, we'll just record you absent.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and honorable members. As we indicated earlier on, we act as proxies for the shareholders of Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited. So just to make it as simple as possible, I'll speak in the first person register. Right, I'll start by giving you a brief background of Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited. It was indeed started by Mr. Chivayo here and Mr. Yusuf Ahmed at 50% each in terms of the shareholding structure of this particular company in 2012. And just to clear the air on an issue that was raised by one of the honorable members, the certificate of incorporation was actually obtained by Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited in 2012, October to be more specific. That was before all these tender processes had actually begun. Right. In terms of one of the shareholders of Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited, Mr. Yusuf Ahmed, whose interest we represent, I just want to make it very clear that he is an established businessman with businesses not only in Zimbabwe, although he's Zimbabwean, but right across the borders, South Africa and several other countries in the world. So he is a well-registered and well-established business person. In terms of commencing, because obviously they did not just start by tendering and so on and so forth and getting money from ZPC, etc., etc. There's a lot of money that was injected into this business in order to make sure that this project is up and running, and in terms of holding these meetings with the so-called technical partners, etc., etc., and it is our client who was responsible for that funding, so to speak. Right. I also wish to highlight to you, honorable members, that in 2014, Mr. Chivayo actually borrowed some money on the basis, he borrowed some money on the understanding that he would cede the rest of his shareholding in Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited, which he did, to a company called Intermediate Investments. Right. So for all intents and purposes, and as things stand right now, Mr. Chivayo is not really a shareholder in Indratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited. Right. Now, the biggest challenge that has been there, and I think everybody has seen it, is that even in communicating with members of this august house, Mr. Chivayo was saying, I did this, I did that, my this, my that. He has never respected certain corporate governance issues that relate to the management of companies. And that is precisely why we are here today, because the shareholders have said, this project is not moving, we are concerned, we risk our names being tainted, etc., because of whatever is going on. But it's high time we take some action and make sure that things are happening on the ground. Right, we have tried to engage on behalf of the shareholders. As you know, obviously there is need to restructure the board and the management of Intratec Zimbabwe Private Limited to make sure that there's progress on these projects of national importance. We've tried to engage the Mr. Chivayo here to get some documents, etc. In fact, we have asked the same questions that you are asking in this august house as to, for example, what could have happened with the monies, etc. And even the shareholders themselves are none the wiser. All right. We have even approached ZPC. We have written several correspondences and said, can you please assist us with these things so that we can get this project back on track, because the people who were the principal funders in the first place need to come in and make sure that there's progress. Of course, we have not registered any lack that side. But I wish to indicate in clear and certain terms that the shareholders of Intermuron Investments, the shareholders of Intratec Zimbabwe Private Limited are very much prepared to fund most of the positions that may seem to be controversial at the moment. As a matter of fact, they indicated that, I must make it categorically clear, that if they can mobilize and ensure that this project is up and running as quickly as possible. As a matter of fact, they've got the equipment, they've got everything that can be on the ground within a week even of this particular session, as long as they understand, of course, and I know that this is an issue that has got more to do with the company than anything else, which is why I would not want to waste your time explaining that. But they've made it very clear that they are happy. Now they understand, obviously, the problems associated with this particular arrangement. And because of that, they are taking action. And this action, obviously, is in the form of effectively restructuring this board and the management. And they are mobilizing on the ground, and they are more than happy to pump out these monies that are required, since they were the principal funders in the first place for Intratec Zimbabwe to be in existence in the first place. I think on behalf of the shareholders of Intratec Zimbabwe Private Limited, that is what I wish to communicate to this august house.
Yeah.
And you, when did Mr. Chivayo cede the shares?
In 2014.
So, when he signed this, who signed the agreement for this project?
Mr. Chivayo has basically been responsible for the day-to-day running of Intratec Zimbabwe Private Limited, as obviously a director and the managing director for that matter.
So he signs in his capacity as managing director, not as shareholder?
No, he signs in his capacity as the managing director and a director of Intratec Zimbabwe Private Limited.
So as shareholders, were you aware of all these transactions which came through the company?
Right up to the commencement of the monies that we're talking about, yes. But obviously after that, there hasn't been much communication, and there hasn't been much transparency, so to speak.
Do you say the money that has been put into this project, has it gone to the intended purpose?
Frankly speaking, the shareholders are none the wiser. They do not understand. The same questions that everybody here is raising are the same questions that are being raised. But what they are saying is that we have got the capacity, because these are Zimbabweans, we have got the capacity, we have got the money, the balance sheet. And yes, they are happy to ensure that whatever it needs to be done is done.
What? Okay, Honorable Chirisa, my last question to you is, how much money have the shareholders that you represent put into Intratech?
Right now, they are compiling a reconciliation of the monies that they've put into debt, but we're looking at between $2 to $3 million.
Chivayo, how much money have you put in Intratech?
Probably another $2 to $3 million.
Are you able to? Sorry, how much money?
Maybe $2 to $3 million.
Are you able to show us proof, both parties, of the money that you've put into this? Because this is now going to what the members of parliament say, is this a briefcase? And if there's anybody who's put in money, we want to know. So by end of this week, if we can get the documents telling us and proof of money that has gone into this organization. Any questions from members of parliament? Of the committee? Yes, Honorable Nengami.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to put the question to the lawyer that, like what you rightly said, that Mr. Chivayo ceased to be a shareholder in 2014. As of now, is he an employee as a director or what? In terms of currently, what connections does he have with Intratech?
Currently, he is my director. Right. Currently, he is a director, and he is the managing director of Intratech Zimbabwe Private Limited.
Chivayo, why did you tell us that you were a 50% shareholder? Before us, you took oath and said you're a 50% shareholder. And now we are told you are not a shareholder, you are a managing director. What is your response to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The issues of shareholdings, I think, is an internal issue for Intratech. It's my word against his word. He will say, I ceded shares in 2014, but in 2015, after signing the contract, Mr. Yusuf Ahmed gave me my 50% back. And I have evidence to that effect. I have share certificate, which is in my name for the 50%. So he is a lawyer representing those shareholders. I didn't bring my lawyer. And it's a dispute that if we disagree, us as shareholders are...
I just wanted to know whether a shareholder...
I am a 50% shareholder, and I stand by that.
Yes, Honorable Holder.
Thank you, Chairman. What I just wanted to clarify, the lawyer who's representing the other shareholder, have you got documents regarding to the ceding of the shares to the other partner?
Yes, I do have those documents. I have them with me even right now.
Can you?
Chairman, on a point of order.
Yes.
It looks like the two are not agreeing. Is there any court cases going between the two of you? Because we don't want it to be sub judice.
Yes, indeed, there's a potential dispute that should go to the courts. And
the question is this. No,
the session he has is not registered.
Mr. Chivayo, yes. You cannot be, you are under oath and you keep jumping the gun. Can you switch off the question Mr. Honorable Holder asked you? Is this case before the courts, yes or no? Not that it's going to court. Is it your dispute? Is it before the courts, yes or no?
Then my response was, there's a potential dispute.
I said,
lawyers have been communicating.
Is this case before the
lawyers
courts?
have been communicating and letters have been written.
What we are saying, Mr. Chivayo, I think, Mr. Chivayo, you are not understanding the consequences of this. I think you are not understanding the consequences of what you are doing. We are not here to play games. We are neither here to really be having you telling us things which are not true. You are under oath. I keep saying this to you, you are under oath. And Honorable Nduna warned you of prevaricating. And we have just asked you, is this matter of shareholding before the courts, yes or no?
No, it's not.
Mr. Toko, may you finish the committee with the documents that relate that he ceded shares, and if there are any that will come, I mean, if the matter goes before the courts, that's different. But for now, we want to establish the legitimate owners of this entity. And by so doing, if you could forward us those documents, and we'll study them and make appropriate recommendations. If Mr. Chivayo have anything to the contrary too, you are free to also submit to this committee. Yes, Honorable Chairman.
Mazita Chairman. Inini Chairman, mvunzo wangu, through you, Mr. Chairman, ndo kuti Zesa Holdings, se company yakakura udari inomirira nyika yedu. Ine mari inoshanda udare yakawanda udare inenge ichibuda nevanhu mari yenyika yedu through Zimbabwe Power Company vanenge vane basa rekumirira mari dzedu yakawanda udaro. Kana takatarisa vachisenza nekambani dzakadai so kuti nyika iende mberi ine vanhu vakaita madegree vane PR department, chii chiri kuitika kuZesa, chii chiri kuitika kuIntratech. Ivo veIntratech pakusenza kwa mvunzo wangu ya chairman wakusimuka wendabvunza vaChivayo kuti mune mhosva here yamakambopara ine chekuita nenyaya dzeori, vakati azveshuwa zvakabuda pachena kuti fraud stakuba saka vakachaiwa 2 years handiti, but ivo vari kuti zvese izvozvo hazvina basa, inini ndaichandoda kuita chi, kuita mari. Saka maitire emari acho ndiwo here awa evaishanda neZPC. Anyway, discussion yedu secommittee, asi nofunga ZPC neZesa Holdings inofanira kudzoka futi vambotitsanangurira maendero vakaita kuchikoro kana vachishanda nemakambani akadai so.
I think members of parliament, that's why you're doing such a sterling job in exposing this. If it was not for your oversight role, the country would not have known this. And probably Chero is this house because the state procurement board is critical too. Could Pawanopama tenders, one wakaita say. So it's a whole chain of people, and this parliament will recommend otherwise. Honorable Holder.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to find out from the lawyer, where is the current director that he had to send you as a representative? Is he in the country or out?
He is out of the country at the moment.
Chirisa, then I'll come to Honorable, and then we'll finish off with Honorable. You all speak, but we'll finish off with Honorable Nduna. Honorable Chirisa.
I just want to find out from the lawyer, sorry, I forgot the name. Mr. Togo, I just want to find out from you the current board members, their names, and also you said you are going to appoint a new board. What do you look for in people to become board members, the criteria that you use? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Obviously, to the shareholders, the issues of corporate governance are very important. In fact, for any organization to be functional and to deliver its mandate, corporate governance issues have got to be respected. And the manner in which we want to restructure this board is such that we want to make sure that there are people who have got experience in areas that are relevant to projects of this sort. And that is exactly what we intend to do when we restructure the board of Intratech Zimbabwe Private Limited. Obviously, you can imagine that a situation like this does not leave anybody unscathed, and it's not to be repeated again. And that is exactly why right now we're going to look at people who can dispense with their mandate as board members.
The follow-up. No, the other party did not answer. I asked the current board members, who are they, and you know their background. You did not answer.
May you answer that thing?
In terms of the Sierra 14 that we have at the moment, The current board members of Intratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited are Mr. Wigno Chivayo, Mr. Ross Chavi, and Mr. Yusuf Ahmed. And that is what is reflected by the register of directors and shareholders that we have. And we have those documents here.
Chairman, when was the last...
You seem to want more clarity. Honorable Chirisa, go ahead.
I don't know. I stand to be corrected, Chairperson. These are the shareholders, and they are board members and managing directors and what else and what else and what else. So, no, I don't understand.
I think what you said is that the shareholders are different from directors. Okay, Mr. Chivayo is a director but not a shareholder. Okay, the shareholding was ceded and he's a board member. You see, so that's exactly, if I'm not mistaken, that's what you're saying to the committee.
That is the correct position.
Honorable Chair, just, yeah.
Yes, Honorable Ndebele.
Did I hear him right when he said he did due diligence and checked with company's registry that indeed Mr. Chivayo is not a shareholder? Is he going to repeat that?
Honorable Ndebele, why don't you direct the question to him? You've got the floor.
Yeah, I'm directing it to him, but through you, Mr. Chairman.
The question, Mr. Top.
May you kindly repeat the question again?
My point is, being a lawyer, obviously in preparing for this, you did some due diligence by way of verifying the facts that just came out of your briefcase. Did you check with company's registry to see if Mr. Chivayo is no longer or ceded his shares, so to speak?
There was no need for me to do that, Honorable Member. We are in custody of all the original documents of Intratrek Zimbabwe Private Limited. Any changes that would have occurred obviously would have been done clandestinely.
Just like everything else that has been happening, phone calls, we are coming back to the initial question that I asked before teaming out, that obviously all these orders that were being given into ZESA against their will were taller than the minister. There is a force to reckon with which was higher than the minister, and we keep walking around that. That's the truth. And if Zimbabwe has to move forward, we must arrest this immediately. The new dispensation must show teeth. Obviously, there's a hell lot of criminality.
I think, Honorable Ndebele, you're correct. That's the reason why we've got the Minister Udenge coming, and then we'll get to who's taller than him. I think we are in the process of doing that. We are leaving no stone unturned. I think you know that that is something that is already lined up in him coming before us. It was you and then Honorable Chidagwa. Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My question is, maybe to you, Honorable Chair, or to Mr. Tokwe, does the contract of Intratech still hold with Zimbabwe Power Company to do the job at Uganda, given the instances and the happenings that we are experiencing today?
Mr. Tokwe, you're the company representative. What does your contract, is the contract still holding according to the Honorable Member of Parliament?
Yes, the contract still holds. And as I indicated earlier on, maybe if I can just expand on that. The capacity to deliver on that contract is there. Action speaks louder than words.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question to the lawyers, when did these people last held their board meeting?
To be quite honest with you, Honorable Member, that is some of the information that we have requested. In fact, we have got correspondences to that effect, because we also want to find out what has been going on. It's a clear case of delinquency on the part of directors and management, and we are getting to the bottom of it as shareholders of Intertek Private Limited.
My follow-up question: did the shareholders of Intertek Zimbabwe, without Chivayo, lose any money with Chivayo as it stands? And what does ZPC think of a company that has got this way of actually, it's like company governance, and it still continues to abide by the contract rules and regulations?
The answer was ZPC, but Mr. Tokwe, can you respond to that, whether there has been any misappropriation of funds by the managing director, Mr. Chivayo?
That is the exact reason why we've requested for the information that we've requested for. It is very difficult to say yes or to say no without, obviously, without the financials for Intertek Zimbabwe Private Limited. We have requested for those.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. The lawyer did present to this committee in brief what he presented, but I just wanted to find out, for the committee's sake, has he got this presentation written down in writing so that we could actually, as a committee, remain debating and going through the lines with the toothpick so that we can see if there's all the stones are turned? I just wanted to find out if he's got that written, the presentation which he gave the committee, has he got it written down so that the committee could remain at that?
Mr. Toke, may you respond?
Unfortunately, I do not have a written presentation.
What Mr. Toke said he has is the company documents for Intertek, which we have said if they could be handed over to the committee as well. Honorable Mnengami, if you think you don't have a question, you don't have to speak, Honorable Mnengami.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'll speak in Shona. Muti unowira kwawakarerekera. Iye zvino haisisiri nyaya yekuti muchamira here pamberi pedare muchitongeswa nenyaya yekutaura zvimwe zvisingafambirani nedare. Nyaya yekuti muchamira rini, haisisiri nyaya yekuti muchamira here kana kuti kwete. Mungava here nechishuwo mukati mehana dzenyu vaChivayo nevamwe yekumedza amwe mashoko ekugadzirisa zvimwe zvamatopa kudare rino iri zvamungada kuti mugadzirise kuti musazotongwa nenyaya yekunge musina kutaura chimwe chokwadi chinofungidzirwa kuti chokwadi padare rino iri. Ndiri kukupai mukana semunhu apiwa mukana wokugumisira kutaura.
Tinotenda Honorable.
Whether he has any contradiction or any problem with what Mr. Chivayo has done with regard to the presentation to the August House. Has he got any challenge with anything? If ever he has, can he highlight?